Welcome to BBC Points West on this Tuesday evening. Thank you for joining us. Our main story tonight, Fred West and the missing waitress. Police examine a cafe in Gloucester where the serial killer was a customer after new evidence comes to light.
Mary Bastholm disappeared in 1968 and Fred West, the serial killer of Cromwell Street, has long been a suspect.
We'll have the latest on this developing story. Good evening, it's nice to be with you. First, the shadow cast by the mass killer Fred West is hanging over Gloucester once more tonight. A cafe which he visited in the 1960s has been sealed off, and police are examining the building for the missing waitress Mary Bastholm. Fred West killed at least 12 women and buried some of them at his home in Cromwell Street, which he shared with his wife, Rose. Let's cross now to Andrew in Gloucester. Andrew.
David, this cafe slap bang in the centre of Gloucester here has been here under one name or another for decades. But back at the end of the 1960s, a 15-year-old waitress who worked here vanished. She was last seen at a bus stop not very far away from here. But despite a massive police search to try to discover what happened to her, there was absolutely no trace. But now this. Police searches, we understand, in the basement of this cafe, and perhaps the hope that they can finally discover what happened to her more than 5 decades on. This police search could be the key to unlocking a mystery that's been unsolved for more than 50 years. Mary Bastholm was working as a waitress at this cafe. One regular customer was Fred West. Now known to have killed 12 people, but could Mary also have been one of his victims? Mary was last seen waiting for a bus on Bristol Road in Gloucester back in January of 1968. She'd been on her way to see her boyfriend. She was just 15 years old and was never seen again. Police say a TV production company filming a documentary about Fred and Rose West has found possible evidence to suggest a body could be buried at the cafe. Fred West was charged with 12 murders in 1994, but took his own life before standing trial. Rose West is serving life in prison. It's thought Fred West helped renovate the basement toilets at the cafe at the end of the 60s. Mary Bastholm's family said today they were being kept aware of the developments.
From 1968 until the early 90s, when the Wests were arrested and when their crimes were discovered, it had just been a huge enigma, just what had happened to Mary. And we used to do stories from time to time, interviewing members of her family, asking if how they felt about things now, and them eventually saying, in fact, not long before the West case came to light, that they were now resigned to the fact that Mary was probably dead.
Police say the searches here could take several weeks. The hope that this city centre basement could give up secrets hidden for more than half a century and finally solve the mystery of what happened to Mary. Now, there has long been speculation, of course, about Fred West's potential involvement in Mary's disappearance. It was no secret that he was a regular customer here while she was a waitress here back at the end of the 1960s. Police have stressed today that they are carrying out initial checks of the basement here before any excavations are carried out, but it seems clear whatever Fred West did here, whatever repairs, whatever he did to the basement and the toilets of this cafe back at the end of the 60s, that will now become the focus for police over the coming days and weeks.
Andrew, thank you very much.